Хорошо. Снова в эфире. Всем добро пожаловать на нашу сессию. И прежде всего я хочу сказать, что участники панели должны себя представить. Начнем с вас. We're very glad to open this roundtable dedicated to the Ukrainian AI access, and I'm really happy to speak the first, and I would like to talk a little bit about data IX. We entered the Ukrainian market in this last January of this year. And we like it here very much because that's an unusual market, that's an interesting one, and most importantly, it's resultative. And just in a nutshell about the company, we started off like an IX that was initially based in St. Petersburg and Moscow, and then we merged together, and then we had an ideology of a single IX with an operate getting connected to one of our business points available in Ukraine and Russia. Looks like he connects all the operators. So this model seems to be working here, and hopefully the more and more companies will join in. I can also again, I'm not from an IX. Well, I was also thinking what I was doing here in this panel, and I'm thinking about doing a conference here, truthfully. And dear colleagues, if you're not offended, I will leave this panel, okay? I'm Mikhail Salikov, I'm from the IX company, and we're the pioneers in ourselves trying to make changes about something to the Ukrainian market about traffic exchange points, and I think later on we're going to discuss how it worked here. I'm working for Amsterdam Internet Exchange, and we're not a Ukrainian exchange point, but many Ukrainian clients are included and are exchanging traffic. GigaNet UA, and we're not the pioneer. Only Taipei, we're not a pioneer. Now, look, we've tried to quite systematically approach the issue of what IX is in general, because it seems like it's pretty difficult to answer this question, like what's the difference between a data IX from a provider, or I will answer this question. No, I just mean we're the same, but as roughly speaking, our answer is about like this. Everyone is doing basically the same things, but at different times. And it seems to me that the difference between the IXs and internet providers is rather not technological, but it's rather a difference of business model. That's it. That's it. And there is something, there's a presentation uploaded, and go look. Good afternoon. My name is Andrei Gorbanov, and I'm from WIX. And currently, we're not an IX in Ukraine. We're more into Russia and Europe, but we have our own presence point in Ukraine. And we are actively cooperating with the IX because we're located on their site, and we're also a member, and we're also a member to practically all the renowned IXs like Amsterdam, DES X, and everything that is concerned. And currently we are presenting a distributed peering concept, and it's just in response to the question how we're different from an operator, and that's practically the idea primarily, and the concept and business approach. And we're given the operators an opportunity to get each other's traffic directly via route servers, which is not available from the ones you're comparing us to, the regular operator that only gives a full view. But perhaps, yes. I will partially answer your question. I will agree that, yes, we're really different in concept and we're different in business model, but technically we also have a number of advantages compared to the regular telco operator, and these are the advantages that we're offering our clients when cooperating with them. And I'm passing over. The Moscow Internet Exchange is not making too big a difference. We're one of the oldest traffic exchange points and most experienced ones, and we keep hearing like let's do something else, but we ourselves think that that's a local business, traffic exchanges, and our mission is not actually to pose a competition with you or take part in the network business. It's rather sustaining an infrastructure that will provide you with a reliable, sustainable service. And from the point of Ukraine, we're not planning to switch over to the Ukrainian market, and we're very happy that the Ukrainian companies have arrived in Russia and they got connected to ourselves, and we'll develop that cooperation on and on, also at the expense of by different interventions like this one. Alexander Kolchitsky, and we are the largest traffic exchange point in Ukraine, UAIX, and that's 300 gigabits per second is the total traffic. And it's 144 clients and 210 ports. And we're a point that actually confesses pure traffic exchange. We're sure not to go on operators market. Спасибо. Итак, прежде всего, спасибо вам всем за вступление, за представление. И извините, так, мне в уши еще русский язык лезет. Спасибо большое за представление. И я хочу вот эту вот сессию сделать насколько можно более интерактивной. Если есть вопросы из аудитории в любой момент, пожалуйста, берите микрофон, поднимайте сюда или кричите с места мне. И я попытаюсь как-то вас обеспечить ответами на ваши вопросы. Я, может быть, также с аудиторией буду взаимодействовать. Прежде всего, есть ли уже какие-то вопросы к участникам панели? Хорошо. И я, в принципе, тут подготовила парочку вопросов, несколько вопросов на всякий случай, поэтому я начну с них. Итак, первый вопрос, который у меня есть, это следующее. Считаете ли вы, что у нас достаточно эксченджев в Украине и в России, или есть ли место для большего количества? Well, you know what? I'm also surprised why in Ukraine there's so many IXs, but practice shows that there's space for everyone. Because every one of the IXs sitting here are supposed to have their own relish, their own special thing, a flavor characterizing them. And concerning our project, the Data IX project, one of the specific features that we include a free content and that's the fact that we're confessing IX there in pure form. We're not trying to stuff it with some crazy number of prefixes by getting included in some European or some other points, and thus show the significance of our IX. So we're creating the critical mass of prefixes that are necessary, that are interesting to the users. And first of all, that's broadband, and I assume that this model is pretty successfully working in Russia, so we're in present in all the millionaire cities. And in principle, it's also working. But nevertheless, I assume that every one of my colleagues will be happy to share about their own flavors and why they like it, why the users like it, and what's special about them. Might start with not really a flavor or something, but it's rather the question is why do we have to have more IXs if we already have enough? Let's rather develop the current ones, the available ones. And for example, also what were the hardships that we're faced with? And the longer you go on your way, there are many more difficulties you have to overcome. But the first one is the mindset, the mentality, just to understand we had to overcome overcome. And just to understand the depth of the problem, we needed to plumb the very bottom of this food chain, and we needed to take an end user that was just accustomed to provisionally to a freebie, and that concerns connections, that concerns the bit rate of access and content bit rate, and nobody's used to pay. So it looks like an operator who really needs to spend quite a bit to maintain all that stuff, and by wrenching their arms and shaking over every penny they got. So the next question they got is or what is the next level of mindset or mentality? Why do you have to pay some extra to someone else? And they start thinking like, if I get paying those $300 or euros, and if there's 10 of them stockpiled, and then they'll make already 3,000, and that's a difficult thing to do. So why should somebody else make money on me? And the most difficult mindset level is when it comes to yes, he's my friend, cousin, like cousining, and I won't get connected to you, and I'd better get connected to them, to the cousin, and that's the most insurmountable thing. Their colleagues were talking about the number of points. Are there enough of them or not? Let's get back to the topic. Да. Да, я знаю, что вы не работаете на интернет-эксченж в Украине, в Москве. Но как вы считаете, какая ваша точка зрения, Макс? I assume that the price of IXs entering the market is very straightforward. So anyone might install Ethernet switch and call it a traffic exchange point. But as Mikhail has rightly mentioned, and I think everyone will agree with me, that behind that switch are the people with big experience that piles up as long as the traffic exchange point is operated. And secondly, that's the point that IX shall be neutral, and it seems to me that when there's already 4 neutral IXs, or 3 or 4 or 5 of them, then there might be one more coming up, but there's plenty little space for it in the market. That's my vision. When we are going to do a GigaNet, I looked into the statistics, and this Organization for Economic Development did a survey amongst 4,300 providers that are covering 85% of the world's traffic. And between amongst themselves, they got 142 peering agreements concluded. And out of those 142 1,000 peering agreements, only 670 are in paper, and all the rest are in verbal form. And that was the baseline about the fact, is there enough access or not? And actually, indeed, I assume that all the IXs are providing some sort of limited connectivity, no matter what way limited. And the operators also provide limited connectivity. Therefore, there might be only a difference about business models, not technologies. When it comes to business models, there could be an endless number of them, different ones. Therefore, I assume that everyone needs to have a go at that. But and actually, that's the way the internet is built up, and so nobody knew beforehand what was to be working and what was not. I did say that I think not enough, never enough. I think never enough. Like in any industry, do we have enough Coke? No, not enough Coca-Cola. It's good we have Pepsi. Do you have enough Coca-Cola and Pepsi-Cola? No, not enough. It's good we got Dr. Pepper. So that's an everlasting stairway. We don't know what's going to be tomorrow. I really agree with the previous speaker saying that there's always a space on the market depending on the business idea and how you propagandize it and how you promote it and sell it. But as practice shows in the Russian market, MSK, IX will be always, that's for sure. But new business ideas like extended peering possibilities, and that's what my colleague Roman from Data IX and we're together trying to what we're trying to develop in Russia. That's demandable. It's demandable, but despite the fact that there's a pretty limited market of operators, of end users, there are new players coming up on the market, and most likely, yeah, they will find their audiences. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Yes. There will be more IXs, and there's space for them. You know what? Actually, yeah, I will make a little reservation. Yes, that's to be considered a business, but there's no internet exchange that is a clearing member of a stock exchange, and perhaps maybe Russians will be the first ones to act like that. And the second thing, I want to say that there was a statistic about internet exchanges in the world, and there's pretty many of them in Europe, and it's just to and if you were asked, you're sure to know only 4, 5, 6, 7 points, and they're little known. The rest are little known, and they got not so many members, and not that high traffic. So in reality, a number of European countries, exchange points are subsidized. The subsidized part by municipalities or some other authorities, or somebody like an investor, and that's pretty much of a community, not like a business itself. And its community serves not only commercial interests, but also development of the internet and popularization and attraction of content. And that's like a direction, like an area, like the association Euro IX reflects that, because exchange points themselves do not come out of nowhere, and that's not like a movement that you're posing today and tomorrow it brings money. That's a long way to go, and any assistance would be useful on that way, and an initiative is useful, and we'll see what's become of the new options of traffic exchange points that are popping up. Actually, that's a pretty difficult question, and it's about like the same question as, do we have enough providers in Ukraine? 450 that are registered on the registry. But nevertheless, I got a more conservative approach, more prudent, by saying that at a local point there's only enough to hold one exchange point on a local site. So eventually, if it's got like 3 points, it's either it will welcome all the other members and they'll be indistinguishable from each other, or there will be one into another, and that's to be somehow interrelated. Though Ukraine is always peculiar. Thanks. Спасибо. У нас там был вопрос из аудитории. Good afternoon. Can you hear me? Andrei Yatkala, Creaton Net, dear colleagues, just to say hello and just talking about your metaphysics and mentality to get grounded. That's what I want, and I want to talk about the very down-to-earth things that are tangible, that you can touch and count and what. So where's the economy? Because on the stage we got like 1, 2, 3, 4 schemes. That people came forth with also absolutely alternative access, sometimes untraditional. They are different. I'm not talking about being bad or good, but they are just crucially different. So today, earlier, by Sasha Koda from Bagaphone, talking about a megabit and standalone I-access that's starting to cost like hundredths of a cent. It's not dollars, it's not half dollars, it's not anything like. So with this connection, my question is, first of all, to the I-access present here in Ukraine, and that's actually, what's the price if you if you move away from that, like €15 is not an adequate price. That does not meet any feasibility studies and economic calculations. It's just like that. What's the price that would be adequate and fair as related to the market that is supposed to cost to have a good IX in your own business model? And for non-local IXs not operating on this market is the following question. Does MSK IX think that $2,000 for per port is way too much? Thank you for the good question, Andrei. Sorry for interrupting you. I've said a lot of funny things. I'm into economics. Yes, that's into pricing. Yes, I don't understand where the economy. With the economy, yes, I don't see the money because I understand where the money is with me, and where the money is with every other operator, transport main operator. But there's no money in here. Andrei. But nevertheless, I will answer this question. So, what is all about, actually? It's no secret that initially data IX was actually and contact and data IX are a little bit related, and we were interested in contact, and our first client was contact, and 30% of our traffic in the first month of our life was contact. So it's historically grounded that initially the first cities were Moscow and St. Petersburg, and we did not think about any profit and profitability or margin of that project because there was a switch that we inserted into a data center, and we sold out traffic at the price that was voiced, that had already been voiced, and it was all clear. So the model worked really, and then started server migration, and contact server started to move from Moscow to St. Petersburg, and then came the economy. So first of all, there's cost per channel. There's a minimum margin threshold that was fine with the shareholders and the operators, and they understood the market, and that's the balance between the profitability and price that the market is giving you. That's all is provided by the price of the port that's available on the market. And concerning Ukraine in our model, we the data IX, given the charts that we were seeing all day about the dropping profitability, about the port cost close to zero, we're not looking at Ukraine as a center of profit center. We'd rather look at it as a source of as a source of issues, because any job is about issues. So yes, nevertheless, Ukraine is interesting for us because there's plenty of operators here that are interested in the Russian content, and while the Russian operator is interested in the Ukrainian operators. Therefore, let's say that data IX could be seen as a bridge connecting Russia and Ukraine, and there's no money back here, Andrei. And I'm ready to explain later. Right, look. I got a mate who once said a stunning phrase, and that was, I don't know how to make money on the internet, but I do know how to spend it. Meaning that how to waste it. So an ironclad way to waste your money on the internet is doing the same as somebody else did, and that's 100% ironclad way to lose money on the internet, to waste money on the internet. So based on that definition, we're moving along, and about where the money is, the following is the answer. Our economy is pretty frail, I would say, pretty shaky. So I'm not used to work for this money. But not you alone. Right, but there's certain things like for example, how much would it cost me to have an opportunity to do an experiment nationwide with a building up on SDN network? I don't have an opportunity like that. I don't have this money. But here I got this opportunity. I'm sure to have it, and I'll try to have a go at it, and I'm sure I won't lose my money on that because that's already demanded by the operators. And perhaps I will even find something there. So if I do, then I will become really rich in this place. That's the logic. That's the logic. That's a scheme. So because I don't have money right now, the conclusion is wrong that you will never have some. So I-axis is altruism. No, I didn't say that we're paying extra. I just said that's little money for which I'm not used to work. That's a different thing. I just wanted to say that Amsterdam Internet Exchange is only breaking even. But we're non-profit organization, despite of despite of the expensive equipment, despite all the things we're selling, and the price of a portal as related to MSK IX is twice cheaper, but we cannot go into a minus because our clients are possessing ourselves, and they will not at our business plan when the price for port will be too low. Just to interrupt you, just an answer to the question that you just stated. Did I get you right by thinking you thinking that the fair and just price per port at IX currently is about 1,500, 1,900 euros, given your tariffs? No, we got €1,000. That's a fair price? You call it a fair price? No. In response to your question, I mean there's another issue with IX. Where it is based in Amsterdam, there's a very big presence of the operators and tier one operators. So and we're pressurized by the question of how much tier one sells at transit, and that makes a big difference, Amsterdam versus Moscow. So we cannot price higher than tier one does in Amsterdam. And as far as I can understand, in Moscow and Kiev, that's a different state of affairs, rules of the game. But again, on the whole about the business, IX is our position, and it's just to say that it should work. Very brief comment. I think in Kiev the price is fair because in Kiev there's the highest competition. Well, come on, colleagues, MSK, IX, just a little bit. I sort of see two questions. Nothing personal, Sergey. Nothing personal, Sergey. No, I like Maxim's answer very much, and I support him in full, but I would like to ask him one question. Does he get every year letters of happiness at the end of every year? That letters from organizations that are still used to work in an old way, like at the end of the year, there's a price surge by 20%, December to January. That's the question. Price of what? Placement for crossing, for whatever it is, for power, utilities every year, that's 15 to 20% without explanations. It's just an up-enough price.
Then I see why the price can grow. That is, we actually, I may say, just when we hear this question, we have two circumstances. I'll explain the first that we just use that inflation which is happening in Russia, not only at the level of official indicators. And the second aspect, the Moscow Internet Exchange is not standing in one place. It has not finished its modernizing of the structure. It has started only, and we plan rather seriously to grow from the point of view of the capacity, reliability, and the coverage. Therefore, we do not announce about this, but we're working. I want simply to come back. IX strongly linked to local market. We are present in Amsterdam in 12 collocations. If someone would raise price highly, then we can move away. But seven collocations, then the competition is the highest there. Therefore, in Moscow, and in Amsterdam, quite different rules. So the representative from Moscow City, I have the question to the Moscow representative, the Moscow IX just approximately just an Amsterdam exchange. So allegedly, it should work at the level of zero. Why are so expensive? Cisco costs the same what in Amsterdam, what in Cisco. Have moved away from Internet Exchange. And it's a second The second aspect, we're actually not just moving, we are not changing the price by early this year. So we have introduced just for some participants, it was a decreasing price. Just with the moment you are more expensive than the Amsterdam Exchange. We are not just in time. Я думаю, мы дальше перейти от аргументированию ценообразования. Один последний комментарий. You see, colleagues, as for the pricing once more, I liked very much when Maxim said that we are focused on the IP transit in some local regions. But rational practice, the practice of the data X, if I notice that there is another reverse trend when trunk operators are just focused on our price, because it's good. But our entry into the Khabarovsk just considerably decreased the price for operators who existed there historically, and we to compare by models, such companies Aeroplom company, Rostelecom, and there are some just budget companies that have their customers, and some symbios in the market just also pushes stakeholders to make some active steps. I think it's a good thing. Well, allow me also to answer one, as there was minimal price 115 euros, so that's the price of our X. And also, this organization is not profitable one. Nevertheless, as for the pricing, mainly in Ukraine, a sufficient number of providers, and there is enough market for their connection. When we speak about the price for the access port in the point, when our X after organizing, we are capable to serve 3 terabit traffics. Nevertheless, arithmetic is rather simple. We have 210 ports, 115 euros. In view of the connection and so on, it's 30,000 euros a month. So till the system administration in Ukraine will agree to 200 euros, when the price will be 100, when it will like to 5,700, this price will grow accordingly. Alessandro, clarification, I'll interrupt. Do you have a feeling of the upper limit? The market is ready to 18, 300, 200. What is that border? Those who are just connected to the point will pay 2 times. But I'll repeat, in Ukraine, a particularity is in that we see at least the same number of the stakeholders and the same number in the conditions of competition. There is no sense of increasing this price, but so to put it, part of the market is ready. Mostly those companies that are already in the point which understand why they need this exchange. A small comment. I am not against with regards to the price, about 2,000 euros. In dollars, not, no, as a matter of fact, euros, just with the exchange rate of 40 rubles. As operators are ready for M6 to pay this price. What's the reason to decrease it? For a commercial, not commercial organization, as a legal entity, there is no essence here. The operators are ready to pay. As the full-fledged internet costs more expensive. It costs more expensive or higher in more. Therefore, they pay for the exchange point. One internet will start to be priced lower, then we'll pay another. And I'll inform about myself a bit. DataX had an opportunity to develop thanks to considerable content. Roma mentioned it, not hiding that. We didn't have such an opportunity. We were developing. The more stakeholders are included into the appearance, the more it is interesting to those participants that have been already connected. Therefore, our concepts, our model presupposes that there is local points, cities, in which we considerably subsidize. We do not earn money, but we earn in those points that have the smaller costs. For example, in Moscow, customers are ready to be connected to us, that we have the, conventionally speaking, just customers with which they have the exchange of trade. In Moscow, we earn, but in Samara, we do not earn profit. But at some level, we just at the zero level, the balance level thing. Спасибо. У нас еще один вопрос. I would like to give the definition to some questions. Well, to clarify the situation, my point of view, we have several models of narrow national particularities. Because we have the stuff where there are no big exchanges that has been narrowed. Those who the traffic exchange points turned out into telehouses, TV clinics, and so on. Actually, concentration is happening at the connection points to direct interconnectors. We have the Western Europe that we speaks about the realization, but with that, super concentrations took place. What is limbs of what size? What is also clear, just Germany, quite strange to say that it is competition, but at least liberal laws do not create threats for future. Still, we see the situation as stable, although the organization to reliability organization, but not member organizations, but not by member. In our region, we have just actually partial exchanges. In Russia, it's quite risky because it's within big, more private-based organizations. It is clearly seen just the love of the government to underclassniki to Yandex. When MSK IX do not think that government like Ukraine is not is not clear where it is. On the one hand, it was the quick growth in the traffic, but it's not the hyper exchange volumes typical of Europe. And there is competition, but it is yet more interesting. I see four situations in the world. In some cases, I explained that Russian situation in some countries happening. This overlapping of the government, just that the government puts the paw on it. And some countries, the countries are just suffering from over gigantics, and Ukraine is has a very interesting situation. I would like for, address all participants to evaluate the availability of this system. Probably, I would like to note on the situation in the U.S. The providers themselves, in particular content providers in the US, recognize that their model is not functionable. That quite reasonably, well, just for you to imagine, in some telehouses in the US takes $1,400,000 for support of the crossing a month. So do you mean that there is a hole? Let's exclude New York, Manhattan from the list. What has happened? A US-based operator created OpenAx consortium. They invite European IXs and to export a European IX model to the US. It indicates that the market in the US is not functioning. It's not a personal initiative. The market is constructed in a different way. As a matter of fact, I was surprised that OX moves there. The remaining one also just entered. We see that in the U.S. It is as a trend, but not the situation in the U.S. That the internet has been born there, and this local connectivity just has not been standing in one place. Just guys, excuse me, this issue was very acute. I participated in Cisco as participator, and I remember how it was being born. In my words, not just simple words. Let's come back to the situation closer to Ukraine, to Russia, and to my question. My answer is the following. On the whole, you answer this way to any question. Competition is our God. In serious. Competition is our God. I believe in competition. I pray to it as to the God Almighty. Therefore, I think thus this is a path to finding most effective models. I don't know what they will be, as in the US, in Europe, or in Europe, or those about which we are not aware of. Another idea that we would like to announce, with the word IX, we name a kind of multitude of different business models that are put on approximately the same technologies. I am absolutely certain that business models will be developing. A very simple analogy, you see? There are two business models for a tourist agency. You may come and buy a tour at money for $2,000 to have a voyage somewhere. And there is a tourist agency which works on a reverse model. They say, we have bargained a price, $1,998, and we want our commission $50. And it's all the same whether you go to the Antarctic or to a neighboring 50. We want $50 commission for our effort. It shows the difference between the business mode. On the internet, with the internet, I know about dozens of such models. I think there are The competition is our God, and we make a stance on it. I absolutely agree with Alexander with regards to that competition is indeed a locomotive, but the question has been put on the issue, and I like this issue, the role of the government and the IXs. My ideas on that is that if suddenly the government would decide to enhance its role with the internet, then there will be no IXs because there are no any signs of IXs in China or on Belarus, and there will be one apparatus with some ports, one local ports and some trunk ports. Speaking about the role of the government and the models of IX, the competition is a good thing, but strengthening the role of government probably is a bad thing for us. May I? You see? The question is very relevant, and it was rightly admitted about the US. In the US, there is a particular situation. Out of the 8 Taiwans, those that are close to two are US-based. If you connect, if you're not going to, no TNT, no Verizon already, they don't buy traffic anywhere. They do not have anything to exchange. If you are connected somewhere in ENOG or Tijuana, then basically you get the entire world network. The Europe tries always to oppose something to that. In particular, the largest exchange points, which concentrate this volume, enable providers in Europe, largest European providers, also to get similar connectivity as a US-based company. In Ukraine, quite a logical situation when Ukrainian exchange points are actually bases. It is nice. We have a huge number of providers. These providers are potential participations of the exchange point. They have enough traffic and also enough reach. On that basis, one can step beyond the borders of their. I don't think that other organizations like does IX to dream to stay in Tirana. They are peer between, and the exchange points are not significant. There is no such a number of providers there as small providers. Well, dozens of thousands of operators here. I would like to shift the accent a bit. Actually, they agree that the models just differ. They exist in reality. Isn't an American connectivity more reliable and stable than those models that we use in Europe here? You see, this question is probably can be put another way. Whether you trust the US currency at present moment or you like euros more. It's not about the bubbles. It's on the technical solutions. Okay, I'll answer. From the technical point of view, as it was a technical question, we are always struggling against two monsters. One monster is named centralized management, and another monster is named a distributed network. That you see, as with the administrators, they have a saying there to remotely change settings when you are enrolled. What is centralized? What is distributed? Of course, the US model is a more distributed model. Of course, the European model, practically, I would say, over-centralized as of today. But from the technical point of view, I already named the word SD. We are expecting a big revolution, a revolution of the separation of intellect from networks. There will be an opportunity to preserve distributed networks with centralized management. Is a kind of a model which is not existing either in Europe or in the US. It's exactly trend-based development of networks. How it will be put in the business or economics is a complicated issue. Well, I also believe in God, but we'll see how will be developed. On the other hand, from the physics from the reality, the space in which we live. Yes, right. Particularly because of that. I think that from the point of view of physics, as reconfigure the physics is not possible. It is as it is. Then logics can be changed almost every day. One cannot restructure physics. Therefore, I think that the US-based model at present, so put it, is better reformable into new reality than European model, to put it in there. A star-shaped structure, whenever is more agile than this network. Therefore, the Americans will have less problems with the transition to the next cycle of the. Don't you think that's a result of their state regulation? Now, as it is the question to me, I'll answer it. I'm just the most rigid opponent of the state regulation. I'll answer to you with the citation from operator. Once more, 4,300 operators cover 85% of the world traffic and have 142,000 contracts out of the 199.5%. These are the agreements of verbal nature. Not just governmentally regulated, but verbal regulation. If it was regulated, they wouldn't be able to conclude 142,000 arrangements. That's the trick. It was mentioned here that in Europe there is a central model in use. I would like to point out that all big exchanges, it's not the influence of the idea of each IX is in the simple. And instead of change of the traffic from abroad, we make it locally. That started in Amsterdam, Stockholm, Frankfurt, Moscow, and Kiev. Therefore, Internet was born in the US. Historically, they have another model, but the remaining ones simply had to cheapen their processes. That in Europe, a centralized model has established itself. It's just a movement of the market as a response, because as you indeed create Tijuana has been established, and it's because of the long-term, many years, 6-year contracts for defense, for GSA, for government service administration. Well, indeed, if you speak into the list of crops in recent 15-20 lists and the volumes of investments, you'll find that these are the same, what we call Tijuana. As we have relied on the light hand of the market, the full freedom, we have obtained what we have in reality. I mean, all us together, because in this meaning, I have a relation to the SKX. That's an effect. That's the effect of that ideology that was applied. Do you mean the hand of market in the US or the market hand in Europe? We'll believe the market hand will resume. I don't know whether the Boston school or Chicago-based school. Typical, we have the Chicago school. It was fashionable and then. I didn't want to interrupt. Frankly speaking, I didn't understand what is the market to the topology of the. I already lost the chain of them. I'm just to what has been said. For what it was to make to save, to make more cheaper the internet connection. Just one remark with regards to my attitude to the business model, but nevertheless, in the process, our colleagues have developed a very interesting comparison when we're speaking about the tier 1 operators. Mainly, they do not buy internet from one. It is simply the exchange internet traffic between them. The cost of the port and the transit is dependent by the cost of the maintenance of the transcontinental cables and the system that they have. Why this analogy is I transfer to our data X. There is a kind of a comparison that I have drawn unexpectedly. Our zone rule, our SIS territory is specific. 85% of traffic is being born in the territory of SIS, and it is also disappears here. The more the data X, it just absorbs these traffics and transports it to consumers in some other cities or in some other regions. And in some way, this model is similar to the price. It is question to there is a kind of transport vehicle, there is a channel, there is a content that should be transported probably in that way to answer the question. Спасибо. Очень интересное обсуждение провелось. У нас еще один вопрос. Yet another very small question. All our metaphysical dialogue has not convinced me in one thing, or I have not heard. Explain to me if I didn't hear that. We may argue as long as we can about the models, but just as a result, we have 115 Hedra and 200 euro for a port. Guys, all our talks about the ways of developing IXs currently lead to one thing. IXs through just in some period of time will die out. Simply will leave the market because they don't have money in them. Let us come from our metaphysical gods to the earth. I'll try to answer, I'll try to discuss one simple question. Do you see a situation, do you see the history behind it, which probably there are some perceptions in the axis of ideas on which business can be built and developed and to attract participants. So, frankly speaking, I didn't understand 115 euros. Is it too much or too less? Too little? You have more or less? You have more. You would like to have more? As an owner of IX, you would like to pay more. As a participant, a stakeholder market, to have more money in the market. Pay to us. We cost more. We provide more services. What is the problem in that? In the market, there is competition. You can just choose as you like. As for IXCs, will die out or no die out or no or won't die out? Well, you know. Rumors about their death have been strongly over-exaggerated as of today. I absolutely do not believe in the continuation of the business model that existed in the middle of the 90s in the US, by late 90s in Europe, and in the middle of the 200th in Ukraine, with the idea of concentration of traffic as such. The concentration itself of traffic is no value, but mostly as a burden. I believe in an opposite thing. I believe that particularly now, and it will be more evident in future, the complexity of managing networks will enhance. Well, the main competitor to AX is the system of parity relations. On average, to providers, just 35 parities. The management of the system of 35 parities is not a very simple thing. This figure is increasingly growing, and there is a clearly cut mathematical ceiling. It is not possible to manage a system of 188 parities. It's too expensive. Therefore, I think to the degree in the growth of the complexity of managing the network, and as to the degree of separating the intellect from the network, the function of delegating of this management of distributed network will be singled out and will bring money. Big or small money, I don't know. It is in a poker. You bet, you earn. If you do not bet, you know that this sitting on the podium, they believe they made their answers. We will be judged by history. Andrei, and just another question. So the question. So it's to maintain the discussion, and with regards to 1,700 euros for a port. in Moscow. Do you think it's a regular price? I'll reiterate my question. I don't think that 2,000 is too much for IX. I clearly answered the question. Moreover, I may reform just to the remark of Alexander Sand. Question just in Amsterdam, as Mark said, 70 sites, huge competition. Port, 1,000 euro. Kiev, also allegedly competition, just amazing competition. Port course 100 euros. Why so? Explain to me. I will add. I will come. Я думаю, дальше надо перейти дальше на другой вопрос. Итак, есть ли еще какие-то вопросы от микрофонов? May I have a question to Alexander Kulchitsky still? As you are the chief of the transport pool, globally mainly, exchange points are basic points for the pricing. Then there is the transportation system that determines the transportation cost. That's a separate arithmetics. As M6 stated, why 1,000 euros for? Because they have a beach competition, Tijuana and Amsterdam. Their basic price 1,000. In Moscow, the basic price 2,000, 1,500 MSK. It's 15 cents per megabit. The average 50% Tijuana. Roughly speaking, 1.3, 1.5. This is the difference. With that, people earn money. In Ukraine, the situation, allegedly, as we say, organization OIX is not profitable with that. 3,200 to 2,000 just cost the cost for the engineer payroll. So it is segregated. Yet, my question: if in Ukraine, even with the market, which, to put it roughly, there is no any market, the price is about 60, 80 cents, roughly speaking, the lowest price in the world. Across the world, the traffic cost 20 cents. For why this price of 115? I answer the first. I'll try to answer to the question that has not been. What will happen? And the price will be 300 euros. Basically, nothing would happen, but there will be more revenues from the exchange traffic, from the traffic exchange points. With that, with no doubt, though, you need profit, you need money, but not so much. With that, with no doubts, an influence will be made on the retail market, which in Ukraine is where the prices are rather low. But as for the structure of the OAX, the subsidiary of the Organization of Ukraine, the Organization of Ukraine unites providers, content providers, and all who that have relation to the internet. And in this community, there are different opinions. The taking of a decision on increasing the price is a process which depends indirectly on our customers that can, through the Internet Association, initiate this process and raise this price. That is, as of today, as I understand, this is the opinion of the market of Ukraine. This is the opinion of the Internet community that it is not reasonable to increase this price. But you see, the customers themselves that you have paid 2, 4 times just look at the table depreciation. Why you just put yourself in a lower situation? What is the gem about that? Max Malchansky, I already said. If he doesn't like, which doesn't like the policy of pricing, in the UAX, let they raise the issues at the Congress or at the meeting of the board. Maybe the situation is rather simple with prices. Just we had the said that there is no money there. The next speaker says that at least $25,000 a month, and how much is that? 300,000 is not. The third speaker said that's too little, that we should pay just $500, then the organization will earn $1 million a year. You see, the situation is the following. Once more, the classics of economics. There is no just price in the market. The price is being formed by supply and demand. That's the supply and demand at the moment. As a matter of fact, I think that in near foreseeable future, the Internet Association itself will decrease price in a way. Why? Due to a very simple reason, because that price, that is 115, has been historically formed on the following. There was a kind of a plan of developing the network under which capital investments were required. Now it's evident that this network development plan has become outdated and won't be implemented. There is no need for capital inputs, though there are no puts. The moment 115 is too much. Well, you are laughing. You are laughing in vain, because Muscovites just use this. The moment they collect money in the sufficient volume, the entire construction will break up. Because the moment in an organization which is managed by voting, not in a company but in a non-profit organization, there is $1 million just raised. After that, something usually happens, no matter what it is. When in the 90s I was told, money is like a dynamite. When you have it just only a small portion, that's a funny thing. When you have it's already a dynamite pack that will blow out everything. Then the price will be defined by the supply and demand. And I just thinking that different business models will give birth just to different diapason of services. Very soon it will be not named IXs. Here, sitting in front will stop to be named IX6. They will invent new names for their organizations with the course of the time. May I add, I would like to switch from the problems of the IX to more particular things. With regards, I fully agree with Maxim and with you that the price is determined by the market, by those price proposals that are available, and I fully share this point of view. You see, colleagues, with regards to the question of Andrei, which I like very much, what IX will do out. As any sound person, I don't like to think about my dad just for the work in IX6. In my safe, I have just a folder called IX, the liquidation. What Maxim and Sasha and disbalance in the market will be just disrupted, and at some time IX6 will appear. They have a green folder where it is dated revival. Therefore, this process is of a kind of wave-shaping nature. We will for sure die out in that form in which, as a matter of fact, a small addition. Internet exchanges appeared as the traffic exchange points. As a matter of fact, with some time, they started to be called airports in Europe. One cannot say that their role today and their strategy development is limited only to the exchange of traffic. Many traffic exchange points see their business as supplementary, as auxiliary centers. They see their participation in organization crossings. It's not a secret that some networks, if we don't speak about transport sector, but service channels that provide end-user services are separate servers and sometimes separate racks filled with these servers. And believe me, there is a question. to whom these local segments will be trusted to. Whether will be well, a person will consider interaction with some operator and will install his rack of servers, getting this free access to customers and to but on the reverse, the operator will feel the competition. Still, the traffic exchange points have certain future, and mostly it is determined by activities we perform now. As for prices, the question is rather interesting. And if people pay 150 euros are not satisfied, and who pay just 300, 400 to someone else, it means that the rule of the traffic exchange point is high, and people pay money that just they pay less or high or more that, but they pay for this exchange to function. Well, to construct conveniently, comfortably, just the peer-to-peer connection. These services they perform the services. Those who have more services, they may eliminate another. With regards to the Ukrainian market, one on communication. After communication with the first provider, said he said that everything is cheap without that. And that can be priced quite understandable. The second, the third, they did the same. That, but raising the price. There is demand in the Ukrainian or in Russian market. The main thing is for the service to be of quality. Whether it is a full-fledged IX, not dynamic, with OX, MSK, IX, or SV, with Roman. With regards to demand in Ukraine. So, as for the demand, the market, the cost of all the net of all points of declining for 3 years in a row. The demand might be for what? That the question is why. The very important thing is just roughly speaking, it is of negative value. But when you come to understand, you say, basically, you wouldn't give anything new aside from the price.
So, as the result, since over the last 3 years, Ukraine index of prices goes again of that of traffic was definitely index of profitability keeps dropping. So we talk about exchange points within the next 3 years, and better margin, better profit. So my question is, what are you doing? What's the point? It's not interesting to just go with the hardware as somebody is lost in this soil in Russia, and it's more credit to them. But somebody's in Ukraine, you don't know what the people are up to. From my point of view, the point is that as long as there's money about this constant that we're making, we need to get the other to invest it somewhere. If you want to go with the telcos, you're expected to build up your network by equipment and run your engineers and so on. So apart from them being my salary from me now and providing some sort of people, some certain number of people with food to after it stops bringing money to me, I might potentially be able to do something else out of this after the advertisement's been made, like an operator or like a broadband or like a telco operator. Yeah, what's the main problem that's coming up in the Ukrainian market is feeding people and upping their salaries. That's much more than anything else. So let's make that profitability. Second, broadband. Come on, Max. Here's my answer. Now, look. The simpler the service, the tougher the competition, and the less you're able to make on it. So, if you want to sell, if you want to build a big business, then you have to move towards complex services, not simple. I will just name an acronym for what might affect I-access, the ones that are safe here in the very near future, in the very near future. That is on the bottom, going up the access as filters about. That's optic fiber, not packages, package-based communication, switching. Sorry, and I know, yes, they use a switch in between their own routers, but they don't sell it as an external service. So there's photon-based switching, SDNs, CDNs, and then up the axial model. All that spectrum of services is indeed expecting us, because the difficult thing about the traffic engineering that will grow exponentially, and the logic is that everyone knows the Moore's law, and that says that within 18 months the productivity of processors will be doubled, is expected to be doubled. But there is a second law saying that the traffic volume is proportional to the square, the productivity of processor taken square. So you basically will have to do something about it, because there's a mathematical limit to it. If somebody remembers Polishuk's presentation on that account, then there is a top threshold, and the terabit internet is already lagging 5 years behind where it was supposed to pop up according to that schedule, according to that chart. It's already a 5-year delay. So there's a huge field for investments for activity. Yes, I-axis will die, are expected to die, but will the companies belonging to the I-axis belong to die? That's a different story. That's a different matter, and you should not forget that 3M was one day a charcoal mine, a coal mine. And from food and things, I would like to talk about some basic things like foods. When I was at Cross, and that's COM Operators Conference in St. Petersburg, I heard a wonderful presentation. I don't remember the speaker, but he was very interesting by comparing the essential foods price indices like the bread, milk, grits, and so on, and the ARPUs in the Russian telcos over the last 7 years, and it bounded to the index of salary growth in his company, of his employees, and he also bound it to utility growth, to utility going up. And then when I heard the presentation, I was about to kill myself right away, because it was that black that he sounded. And but nevertheless, it's been 2.5 years, and we're still alive. The markets are still alive, and the broadbands are also including new clients. And yes, we're going slower. The people are more money craving and more meticulous about money and capexes and other things. And then concerning I-axis and their interaction to the operators, as far as I understand, when we mentioned 115 euros, we were talking about food to engineers to be fed, not thinking about development. Probably. But nevertheless, when unfortunately, which I really hate to say, is the indices of our telco prices are dropping. They're dropping on IP transit, dropping for port cost, port price somewhere. But there is a positive trend that the traffic's going up. So largely speaking, the money flow, the cash flow that towards the operator will go up on the falling price, but it's bigger in volume, and that's something that Sasha just mentioned, of photon quadrillion processors and photon switching and so things like that. That's the point, probably.
Thank you.
Perhaps yes, but not yet in Ukraine. Talking about volumes, well, the indices of prices dropping are way ahead of, yes, I basically agree with the switching, commutation of theory, but most importantly, they're going to ask you about where the money is. And it's going to be by the investors, like in a couple of years, like 2 years and 4 years. Where's the money? We installed the switch. Yes, you did. And there was a util. Let's pinpoint a switch over there. Yes, it's good, we did. And what's next? Now, I will try to give you a different answer again to this question. So what's going to happen if the price, if the port price in X goes up, if that influences the retail market and the retail prices start going up, that will be first of all in favor of large operators, because in the retail market there's the principal operating, like at 50 hryvnias per month, a subscriber can forgive everything to the client provider, and if they start paying 200 or 300, they will require a very high quality service that only can be provided by large players. Hence, the base will drop. IX base will drop if only exclusively large players will stay in the market. So, obviously, at the Congress and by the board, the decision was made not to up the prices. So eventually, it looks like the end user pays for double ports, one port yours and one port util, a gigatel. So the real price paid on the market is about 500 euros, and you should acknowledge that this level has been achieved. Probably from the point of view of new technology, there's two aspects, and I just want to end it logically. Yes. So development of traffic is not limited, it's not unlimited. Sorry. And in this year, I already had a couple of calls from channel operators asking me why ain't the traffic growing. Maybe the simple answer, why we got representatives of large content players, and they understood that content is moving towards access networks pretty actively without a problem. And that's one aspect. And the second question is about the price flexibility. That indeed depends on the segment, because being involved in content delivery networks in the Russian Federation, I did an experiment, and that was a price list, roughly speaking, of one nature, and I sold at a double price, and no response, no feedback. And it all depends on the particular market, the particular consumer. And in terms of these private consumers are least thankful rather than the corporate ones that are most thankful. And from the point of view we're going, and like there's some trends in Russia, probably towards channelization of and services, access and services, and the country, the state, the government will be glad of the endless competition, but they really want to see it correctable. No, yes, it's about we're about to have dinner. That's just a little remark. I totally agree with the fact that the companies that representatives that are now sitting at this virtual table, they called IXs altogether, but they got pretty different, absolutely different business model and different purposes. Why 115 euros is because a project like IX was set up under the association that whose target was 115. If the target is 15, just 15, it will be 15. Nobody talking about feasibility. So if most of the people sitting in here most company reps sitting in here, they also got that as their additional business, concomitant business. Like, we went into Ukraine. Oh, yes, we went into Frankfurt. Yes, we're pinpoint here in Ukraine. All right, let's sell something. That's classy model, excellent model. We're owning a telehouse, so let's install a switch and let's sell something else. If that's a concomitant business, it's no use to look for logics there. Absolutely. And so it does make a difference. 115 or 2,000 or 3,000, there are companies providing pure exchange in the way it is. That's MSK and AMS, and they don't have a telehouse by their side that feeds them. They don't have any transit business, content business, and all this stuff. They're trying to develop it. That's a different matter. They diversify their risk, but nevertheless, there's two exchanges. Therefore, the most expensive prices. And about the market, how it's reflected on the market, let's do it this. We are representatives of the operators, not users. And sad but true, the more expensive, the better. That's known to everyone. So in the market, where there's a price of $1,000 and percentage-wise, and interest, you sort of make less compared to a market that's got a $10 price. So, but if the goals the I-axis goals is to satisfy the user. That might be 15, then 5, then 0. And then the markets that used to work for the operators are still expensive, and they don't complain. I never heard about kind of complaints in Moscow that the operators are feeling bad. I never heard in complaints in Amsterdam and Frankfurt that they're not so good. But in Ukraine, whoever you might ask, it was like 2 or 3 weeks ago. There was the same intervention in Lushta, and there was quite a mess of complaints that yes, everyone is dying, everyone is blah blah blah. So maybe we'll start with choosing the companies, the exchanges, or the structures to work with that will develop operator market, not develop user market, and divide between this is for operators and this one's for users. Therefore, you might not have an idea or distinction by 115, why 1,000 euros, two different models, two different goals, two different things. Хорошо, извините, очень мы действительно потеряли счет времени. Мне только сказали, что уже 12 часов ночи, и мы очень опаздываем, поэтому это могу сделать только вывод, что была очень интересная панель. В следующий раз мы подольше поработаем. Спасибо, панель, спасибо всем задавателям вопросов. И еще раз извините за то, что у нас не было времени на оставшиеся вопросы, но вы увидели всех панелистов. If I may ask the last final question, то есть после сессии во время нашей социализации. Извините, нет. Дмитрий, я не думаю, что у нас для этого есть время. Маленький вопрос всем этим ребятам. Could you please tell me, principle of exchange is actually like bilateral, it's openness and publicity. Openness and publicity. From my point of view, not all, I assume, representatives of exchange are declaring. Maybe some of them do, but not all of them feel like that. Once we're talking about the Ukrainian market, I would like to get a comment if you bring yourself right. All right. How can openness and publicity of price could be from 2 hryvnias per megabit to 8-10 hryvnias? How can you declare equal participation at different prices for traffic? Одним предложением, пожалуйста. Very straightforward, very simple. I am not confessing this policy, but nevertheless, I would like to say that the price discrimination policy, the keyword for Google search, price discrimination policy is very widespread in the business world, and I will go by a Samsung telephone, but in Ukraine it's more expensive than in America, and that doesn't seem fair, but that allows Samsung to make more money. I think that this matter is better to be discussed with the other guys, just to find out from them why it is so. Все, всем спасибо.